So we
Wow.
arrived in 86 when Mets won the World Series. I can tell you a story about that one.
Okay.
So we came in, like I said, we had nothing in the house, just a bed, and that's how we lived. And you go to school and you just had your clothes and that's it. So my brother and I, we found this old TV that the neighbors next door got rid of. It was like a black and white TV. And so we like, yo, we could probably fix this. So my brother, we're tinkering. We're like, young to do it. So we stick a hanger in the back of it, and all of a sudden you see reception. We're like, yo, look at this. We got this. So somebody's got to stick back there now and look at the hold the hanger so you can see what's happening on the tube. So we're there watching TV sideways.
Right.
But what happens is we found out that the World Series was happening, and that was the closest thing that we knew in our sports and our culture is cricket.
Right.
So we see these guys and they're hitting only 3 at a time. I'm like, what's going on? Why are they changing teams so often? 3 strikes, you're out, 3 times up. In cricket, it's the entire team bats at one time. If everybody gets out, the next team goes, and then the game's over after everybody's get knocked out. But this is something similar to what we're used to. So we started watching this, and it so happens the game that we were watching was the Mets winning the World Series in 1986.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember that vividly.
Okay. And how long had you been there at that point?
So that was like the first year or so that we were there.
First year.
Yeah.
And you said it felt like 10 years before you felt like your mom and your dad and everyone just kind of settled in and like this is home for them.
Yeah. So we lived at that house for 10 years, I would say. My grandfather and grandmother had passed away or got very ill, and they had to be in a nursing home. So my mom had eventually started working, and they worked in belt factories, my dad and mom, and they were making only $100 a week. Back then, that was decent money, but it was not enough money. And so it came to a point where my aunt and uncle moved out from the second room, and they moved upstairs to the top of the single family.
Okay.
And then we occupied the entire downstairs. And my grandmother, as she was getting older, and my grandfather had passed away, she was going up and down between the two families, like picking a room, staying there 1 month, and then coming down, staying another month, kind of helping out with the kids or whatever. But my mom and dad, they worked in that belt factory day in, day out, 5-6 days a week, about 10 hours a day, making $100 a week. I remember that paycheck.
Man.
It was tough.
A belt factory.
Belt factory, the metal belts. And my mom used to come home and having scars in her hand from the belt, the metal cutting her. And who knows what kind of chemicals was going into her bloodstream.
Right.
We didn't know back then. Those are the different industrial age.
Yeah.